It's here! It's finally here! The Asus ROG Ally is official in Malaysia and we have just got it in a sealed retail box here, and I'm gonna unbox this thing to show you guys what's inside as well as tell you my first impressions of it. Alright, so we have got our knife here and we are just going to cut open the plastic packaging just like any new gadgets that we receive in the studio. Now this is a very special occasion here because it is the very first handheld console device, if we were to call it, that we are going to unbox in the studio here. Alright, the plastic is off and we have a sealed Asus seal right over here, and on the other side we're just going to cut it open. This is how the ROG Ally looks like. And open sesame. Okay, so the first thing that we are seeing on top here is basically an illustration on asking you to charge the device probably before you turn it on, because like most other Asus laptops and all, you will need to charge the device, then only you are able to turn it on. So let's take out this leaflet here, pretty good information. So whoa, there you go, the Asus ROG Ally in its plastic here, right? So we're just gonna leave it aside first and check out what's inside the box. So let's open the right compartment here. So what we get here is the power adapter. This is a USB-C adapter. So the ROG Ally actually charges over USB-C, so you can basically use any USB PD power banks to charge this device up. And if we were to open the middle part, this is an empty box. And on the left here, we get the power cable, and that's pretty much about it. There's no additional accessories that I can find inside the box. And yeah, we are done with the Asus ROG Ally box. We're just gonna put this away. And I just want to take a look at this case that we received as well. This is the official ROG Ally storage case here. It actually looks really nice here. It feels very, very nice and high quality. Just gonna open it up and see if there's any interesting compartments here. So we get a manual here, and we apparently get some sleeves here. This is probably for to store your cables, and yeah, this is basically where you slot in your devices here. What is this for? Oh, okay, so apparently this is a flap that you can just raise it up if you want to. And if we take out the ROG Ally just like this, just gonna rip open the plastic. And if we put it in, right inside here, all right, it doesn't close that way. So I'm sure that this is a part where you can actually So yeah, this is how you store the ROG Ally into its storage case here, and this flap basically comes over. It doesn't like hold the device tight, so you gotta be careful when you take it out of the casing here. And this is how it looks like when you store it inside the case. So apparently there's no pocket or something to store this thick power brick right here. So you gotta have another separate bag to store the power brick or else a power bank. But basically this pocket here is good enough for it to store things like SD cards and cables. So yeah, it's a pretty nice storage case here, but definitely not the best that I've seen. But yeah, it's better than nothing, right? So yeah, this is the ROG Ally, and let's take a first look at its hardware. Now, on first impressions, I have to say that the ROG Ally doesn't feel too heavy at all, despite packing all those PC-grade hardware right inside. In fact, if I were to compare to my Nintendo Switch, it probably weighs like slightly more and it's not that significant. But I mean, if you hold it like to play for a long period of time, you'll definitely feel that it is actually a little hefty to hold here. Now let's check out the layouts here. I'm sure you have seen other reviewers talk about it and all that already, but I'm just gonna give you guys another recap again. So you basically get two joysticks right here, and the resistance is actually pretty loose in my opinion. If you were to compare to the PS5 DualShock controller, it actually feels a little loose right here. So yeah, some people might prefer a stiffer resistance, but this is actually pretty loose. You get the standard Xbox A, B, X, Y buttons right here, and one button to go to the armory crate, and some other buttons to get to some other options. And on the top here, you get the power button, the volume rocker, as well as some LED indicators, the USB-C port, and next to it is the XG Mobile port, which you can connect to the ROG XG Mobile external GPU for improved graphics performance. You also get a micro SD card slot right on top that supports UHS 2 micro SD card, which is a good way to expand your storage if you think that's not enough. And finally, you get a headphone jack that also works as a microphone jack as well. Right at the bottom, there's no ports at all, and turn over to the back, you basically get these two more trigger buttons, and on the top, you get these two standard trigger buttons that you'll find on controllers. All right, so now let's just turn on the ROG Ally. Boom, there you go. It is finally powered on, and you look at this pretty RGB ring around the joysticks. They actually look really, really cool. So according to our power meter here on this power bank, it is charging the ROG Ally at 65 watts of power, which is actually good. I thought it would be higher. I thought it would be about like 100 watts like you get on laptops, but yeah, 65 watts is good enough and probably powerful enough to power this entire thing to have that great gaming performance, right? So let's just wait for it to boot up. It's taking a while here. I'm sure it will be online pretty soon. I'm not sure why it is so long right now. Oh wow, I hear the signature ROG sound here, and it has turned into a different logo. So finally, Windows is loading up. So as you guys know, the ROG Ally is the direct competitor to the Steam Deck, and it runs full Windows 11. So you can basically run anything on this device, which is why it is so cool as compared to other gaming consoles, because you're not limited to what you can do on this thing. So aside from being a great gaming machine, it can even be your laptop or anything. If you just simply connect a external keyboard or mouse, yeah, you can simply just treat this as a proper computer. So we're just gonna head on to this Windows setup, and we'll be right back, and I'll share with you my thoughts on how Armory Crate and everything looks like, because basically we have already seen how this thing works and so on, but I just can't wait to see how the actual retail unit looks like. So after going through about 10 minutes of tedious Windows setup, we are finally here on the Windows 11 desktop on the ROG Ally. And as you can see, this is how it looks like with Windows scaling enabled. It is how it looks like on a small 7-inch 120Hz display. And I must say that this is a pretty nice display when it comes to colors and all that. And I really like the touch sensitivity as well. It is very sensitive, unlike some other 2-in-1 laptops that I have tried out there. But yeah, this is Windows, everything is cramped. It is not really optimized for a touch experience, as you can see right there. And as you may know very well, Windows still works best with a keyboard and mouse, all right? So let me just show you some of the controls here. So basically, when you press on the D-pad here, it lets you select the icons on the desktop. And if you move this right joystick here, you basically use it as a mouse here, which I think is actually pretty good. Now, I did mention that the resistance is a little bit loose here, but this is one part that you might actually appreciate, because when you move it around, the cursor actually moves at a pretty nice speed here. And when you want to click on something, you basically just press on this right joystick button again, and you basically get to do the left click. And in order to do a right click, one thing that I found out just now, that you can just press on this RT right trigger button, and it actually does a right click. So yeah, there you go. It just simply calls it the keyboard, which is one thing what I don't like about Windows touch interfaces. So if I press on RT, there you go, it goes to the right click menu, so which is actually pretty sweet. Now, I think the one thing that I want to highlight here on the ROG Ally is this thing, the Armory Crate SE software, which is what makes the Ally kind of usable in some ways when you're using the joysticks and everything to control this entire device here. So I'm not going to update anything just yet, but yeah, this is what it looks like when you first launch it. So I'm not sure why there's a moving out right here. I've not installed any games at all, but yeah, this is how it looks like. You basically get to access your game library here. And here is the settings page where you get to configure the operating mode, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and do some toggles right here. But you can also pretty much press on this button right here that gives you the command center, which gives you access to some of the device's control here. There's even like a real-time performance monitor that you can turn on if you want to, which I think is pretty cool. And it's something that you might actually want to do when you're playing games out there, because you might want to know how well the Ally is performing on your games here. So there we go. There's this little performance monitor overlay here, which is actually pretty useful. Now, apart from that, if we go to the next one, content, so you get to access your media gallery, so you can kind of view your media right from this special edition of Armory Crate without going to the Windows desktop, which I think is actually pretty nice if you don't want to like go to those non-friendly touch interfaces of Windows. I think Armory Crate has done a pretty good job when it comes to this, but in terms of the whole experience, let's leave that until the full review, right? Now, other things that I would like to show you guys is the loudspeakers here. Basically, I've just played some songs on YouTube, and I think they are actually very, very decent loudspeakers. So let me just quit this. We are just gonna quit Armory Crate SE, and let's head on to just Microsoft Edge, and we're just gonna head on to YouTube and simply play a crab rave. You guys hear that? It's not the loudest loudspeaker, it's probably softer than any smartphone that I've reviewed, but then it actually produces pretty good quality audio. So yeah, that's a quick unboxing and first impressions of the ROG Ally. Now, I know a lot of you have watched a lot of reviews about this device already, about its software and hardware issues, but as for now, I'm still going to keep my views on this device as positive because this is an impressive hardware, and I can't believe that this is actually a real thing right now, as I've seen Alienware's UFO a couple of years ago, and now ASUS has finally made it as a proper commercial product. So definitely stay tuned for the full review that's coming up in a couple of weeks, because I'm just going to test this out and find out how well it works for me as both a gaming device as well as a productivity device, because I'm sure these are some things that some reviewers haven't covered yet. So definitely stay tuned for that video, and as for now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.